Over the past few days, I've been doing a lot of reflecting, and I felt inspired to come on tonight and talk about where I'm at in my own personal journey. And I remember when I first started this channel, I created this channel for myself. I like to stay honest, get off my chest whatever I feel. It's a big part of my sobriety today is keeping it real and just having inner peace, and in the hopes that it could help someone else, and or if you could learn something. That's all that matters to me. So I'm going to talk about where I've been at this past few weeks and just what's led up to today. And the mantra rather, for this video is drifting away from God. So over the past week, I've gotten out of a relationship. I've been withdrawing off of some medicines that I was first prescribed in sobriety, some antidepressants, and I've sprained my ankle pretty bad. I had another personal thing happened to me in the last couple of days. It just feels a lot over this past week. It's been very overwhelming. And I'm just grateful that I have a community of people that I'm able to speak to and get their opinions, and they hear me, they can relate. And I just have a lot of gratitude that I'm able to have that humility and say, look, this is what's going on with me. I just got out of a breakup and I'm feeling alone. I'm feeling not myself. It's normal, especially in sobriety. These feelings of getting out of a relationship, it can be overwhelming because for a long time we drank and we drugged to escape those feelings. And when we're bare, when we don't have anything to fall back on, it feels very raw. And I said this in my last video, it's not necessarily wanting to drink or drug, it's wanting to escape the way we feel. And by sharing about it, by writing about it, I've been doing some reflecting, and I've realized that recently I've been drifting away from God. It didn't happen overnight. It's been over the past few months. I feel that I've focused more on relationships, on materialistic, on women, and less reading my vision board, less doing my morning practice, my nightly practice. A lot of good things have been happening, don't get me wrong. I do continue to keep the faith. I will say though that in my first year and a half in recovery, I was so spiritually grounded. And I did that because it's what truly felt right. And I just feel disconnected. So everything is a blessing in disguise. Did I like this woman? No doubt. I did, and I think we established a really cool friendship. And it's unfortunate that we're not really talking anymore. I didn't feel like it was going to end like that, but I do agree with the reason why we stopped seeing each other. So life happens, things happen, and a few people in my life, they were just like, listen, like you knew long term this really wasn't meant to be, and you had fun while you did, but what was the lesson out of it? And the lesson out of it was really that halfway through I felt the same way that she was feeling, but I didn't really communicate that because I was fearful of the relationship ending. You know, you're having fun, you're just living life, and you don't want to do that. You just want to continue, and you're not harming anybody. It's just because we don't think about it like that. But in reality, we're really betraying ourselves. I guess in a sense, it is not being entirely honest. But it's very common to do that, to start out very communicative and then just get less and less, and then it's silence because you just want to continue. And I believe relationships are very much like a tug of war type thing. It's like you don't want to give up nothing. I don't want to give up nothing. So it's a tug of war game. And it's just a game of back and forth, back and forth. So the lesson that I got from this is to stay true to myself and speak whatever's on my mind, no matter what. And also too, that I have been drifting away from God, and I'm getting back to the basics. I'm devoting these next few months and possibly even the year just to focus on me. I don't want to get trapped up in another relationship right away because I feel like I've been looking at my vision board less, I've been praying less, I've been meditating less, and I just haven't been as spiritually connected as I was. And at the end of this, at the end of the day, you could have such a full day, but there's still an emptiness. And I was searching for, like, what is this emptiness? And what it really is a spiritual malady. It's a lack of self-love. It's a lack of a higher power. And no matter what you do, you make money, you find this one, that one, it's always going to be like that until we fill it with stuff that we really enjoy doing, and we just get closer to the spirit. And I truly believe that, and I'm talking about this because I've experienced it, and I do still experience it. It's interesting the way, it's like if you write often, you're really good at it, and then if you take a break, you're not as good. People start to notice that you're not as good. We have to stay consistent in the things that we do and that continue to improve our lives. And this is even as far as praying. Like, I'm relearning how to pray. And I'm saying that, I'm admitting it, because it's not that I don't know how to pray. It's about the consistency, the spiritual discipline. We get so caught up in other people and trying to please others that we lose sight of our goals and our dreams. And then that comes back full circle and we just feel empty. You know, the whole entire circle of life is about finding balance. However, I feel that what's most important is not losing yourself. And we learn that as we make mistakes, as we go on in life, and we just continue to stay true. So, drifting away from God, I'm pledging to myself that I'm getting back to the basics and going to do what I did in my first 18 months that kept me really spiritually grounded. And as I continue to work on myself, the right woman will come along. A woman who loves God, who is career-oriented, who we have a lot in common. It's not science, but it's just how the world works. But I feel like when we focus on things that aren't meant in that time, that's when we're not as connected as we should, because things don't align. They just, we can force something to happen. Like, we can do that. But if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. Nonetheless, I'm extremely grateful for the relationship that I did have. And like I said, I have a lot of respect for her, and I wish her the best. And I think that there's a reason for everything to happen. And I just keep the faith with what the future is to bring. I feel like some of you could relate to this about drifting away from the important things in life that once brought you joy. Life gets very full, we get very active, and we forget to do the things that bring us peace. We start to run on our own will, and we forget how we even have what we have today. We forget about God. We forget about all the blessings, the gratitude, everything in our life, because it becomes smaller and smaller because we're not so spiritually disciplined. I'm talking about this because balance is super important, and I'm not saying you can't have a relationship. That's definitely not what I believe. I believe that you can have a relationship. I just feel that in context, it's like anything else. That if two people have similar interests and you both respect each other's boundaries and other variables are there, then it could be a beautiful relationship. But most importantly is you have to stay true and committed to you no matter what. You can't lose your value. You can't stop looking at that vision board. You can't stop looking at your checklist, because we get consumed with other things and then we lose sight. I feel like what we think is who we become. The thoughts that we have. There's a lot of thoughts that's been going through my head these past few days, and some of them pop up and they're negative thoughts, and I'm like, no, I stop it. I can't control that first thought. But that second thought, I'm like, nope, doesn't serve me. Gotta let it go. Because negative self-talk will get us nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. It's only going to discourage us, and any progress that we're making, it feels so good for so long. So I'm getting back to my positive affirmations, getting back to my prayer, to my meditation, and just focusing on things that make me happy and stop worrying about the things that don't serve me, that don't bring me any joy. I talked about this a few times that it's super hard to stay present. Not worry about the past, not worry about the future, just stay present. Worrying is a huge aspect, and I'm confident that a lot of people struggle with worrying. And that's why I'm talking about this, because we need to continue doing what we do, what brings us peace. How can we stay in that state of mind while continuing to live life, connect with others, and just be the best version of ourselves? Talking about this, I'm realizing that drifting away from God is not a bad thing. In fact, it could bring us closer to the Spirit, because we have to go through these things to get us back to where we want to go. But it's interesting how after it you feel so empty and you're like, yeah, this makes sense.